What's up, everybody? This is your boy Gerald. It is the 16th of July 2014. How are you doing? I hope your week thus far is going as you envisioned it to be, and if you're going through any setbacks or delays, keep the faith. Keep the faith. Now, I don't know about y'all, but it's been very, very hot here in Virginia Beach. Now we're going through a season of sporadic weather changes and hail and thunderstorms and just downright, it's been pretty chaotic. But guess what? That's how life is, right? It is. You're going to have ups and downs, but it's up to you to stay grounded so you can navigate with your life, because it is your life. So how are you? You doing alright? First of all, I want to shout out each and every person that has taken the time to hear what old Gerald has to say. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and thank you for being a part of the family here over at Google Plus as well. Yes, if you did not know, I got a Google Plus channel as well, and I'm going to expand it a little more because I also have been putting a lot of I'm also a poet too. I've always been a poet as a child. That helped me when I was younger to actually be in touch with my emotions. I would imagine some of you do the same when you're filled with inspiration, or you're going through challenging events in your life, as a way of positively being able to understand and escape what may be going on. You will pick up that pen and pad and write it down. That's why it's also good as well, if you have not, to also consider picking up a journal. Some people know it as a diary. But as long as you have a means that you have an outlet for your expression, whatever it may be, that is positive, not exploitive. Because a lot of times when things are being revealed to us, there's some uncertainty going on in our lives, we will allow our emotions to influence the outcome, which 9 times out of 10 it is not in our best interest. That's why it's very, very important that you protect your life. You protect your self-worth and value. And you know how it's always said, your parents probably said it, or those who hold you dear in their hearts, if you just take a second to think before you act, it may impact your life. Because it is so true. So it's very, very important. You have to be careful what is projected from you, like your words. You do understand that words have power, right? They do. That is why you must respect as well as be very vigilant on what you say, because once they are released from you or spoken into existence, the only option that you have is to adapt or adjust. So let's make sure that everything that you're doing, everything that you are projecting, is in the best light. You know how they say first impressions are lasting impressions. Let's make sure that the impression that you give off is in the best light. You deserve to be happy. You do understand that, right? Not one day is supposed to be placed in suffrage or in pain or in shame, or lastly, feeling that your life does not matter. I mean, let me tell you something. See, your life is so priceless and so fragile. It's like a Frabjou egg. You have to make sure that wherever you go, whatever that environment is going to protect it, it is going to uplift it and help you grow. That is why I always make a point to convey this. If the environment that you're in currently does not spawn growth, then that is not your environment. Did you hear what I'm saying? If the environment that you are in, your reality, does not spawn growth, that is not the reality or environment you should be in. Actually, the reality will be the opposite of what you need or desire. If you're walking around and it feels like everything that you are doing feels like it's pulling teeth, it feels like what Tupac would say, me against the world, if it's making you feel like you are more emotionally drained, that's not the environment you are supposed to be in. You are going against your spiritual flow. So let me bring that back into perspective. You do understand, when you make the conscious decision to embrace your spirituality, that is when you're going to tap into a peace unlike any other that you have experienced. I can't even explain it with words because it is so... Put it this way. This is a good way you'll know what I'm trying to describe. You know how it feels when you've had a long day, or maybe the weather's been hot, and it's been very hot here. As you can see, I'm like a French fry, add a little heat to get golden brown. But here's the example I'm trying to convey to you. You know how it feels when you've done something that may have been strenuous, or you've just been hot, and you go and you turn the shower on, and you don't want it to be hot, but you don't want it to be cold, and you turn it on maybe kind of room temperature-ish. You know, you don't want to be but you don't want to, you're hot already. Remember the moment you felt when you stepped in and you let that water hit you and cascade down your body, and it just felt like a washing away. Even though it wasn't hot and it wasn't frigid, it felt right. And what did you do? You let out a sigh like, that is what your connection through your spirituality will give you each and every time. Now, I do have a disclaimer I must put out there to each and every one of you, though. Your connection spiritually is not going to be like mine. It's not going to be like your neighbors. It's not going to be like the person you meet in passing. But there will be a commonality through belief. Now, my higher power is my Lord Jesus Christ. Yours may be from another deity. I'm not in a position to judge you, but I am in a position to uplift you because you deserve that. Did you hear what I said? It is not my position to judge you, but it is my responsibility as a spiritual being to uplift you, to inspire you. I say this with love because, see, I know somewhere in my journey, somebody prayed in my behalf. And those seeds were planted in my spirit. And oh yes, Gerald had to go through some stuff. Gerald had to get tired of being tired. Gerald had to destroy his pride, his ego, so that his voice could be heard. Some of you are walking around with such a distinct and definitive voice within your heart that It feels like your heart wants to explode because you've got something to contribute to the world. Some of you are so creative. Some of you are walking around that are CEOs, wealthy in your own right, but because of the fact that you've allowed your pride, you've allowed your ego, you've allowed your environmental perceptions to hold you back. So in turn, what do? When you don't get your way, you quickly to place shame or blame. And all that is energy that is trapped within. I'm going to tell you something. Life is not supposed to be easy. But life is not a joyride either. It's not. And the more and more, or when you make the decision to love yourself. Some of y'all are so afraid of that word, L-O-V-E, that it's like you are at war with yourself. Some of you have even gotten to the point long ago that anything that is remotely reflects compassion or kindness, you will go through a period of self-destruction. You will self-destruct yourself. You will deliberately sabotage your own joy. Not alone the people that may be around you. And the question should be, why? Do you not think for 1 second you deserve to be loved? Did someone convince you long ago that you don't deserve to be loved? Or what was that great hurt within your heart that you've been holding on to for so long that it feels normal? Or someone had told you, well, hey, if you try to embrace your emotions, you are looked at and seen weak. Let me tell you something. The most strongest person that you will ever come in contact with, for my young folks, heed the words. The most strongest person you will ever come in contact with is a spiritual one. Because I'm going to tell you what, it's not easy living correct. There's a battle going on every day because the devil's work is never done. He don't want you to come into your life. He don't want you to have those joyous memories that got your name written on them. Because you do understand, when you took your first breath, your legacy was already written. The lessons that you're going through right now and to come are because they were assigned by your name. And I know you're not thinking. You really, really think that your name was just given because your mom and your dad said, hey, I'm just going to call you Tom? No. It came from a thought, an inspiration. Well, how do you think that inspiration came about? That's right. Your higher power. And you got to make the decision to pull your weight in this world. You've got contributions that you have to pay. And I'll break that down a little more. When I mean paying, that means planting seeds. You're going to inspire someone else so they can come into their own. You're going to watch their lives come into pass. So it's very, very important to govern yours. That's where the parable comes. Each one, teach one. The strongest force you're going to ever come in contact while you breathe, while you walk on this planet, is love. That's why they say love is unconditional. Because love can never be contained. It's bigger than me, it's bigger than anyone on this planet. That's why there's so much fighting going on, because people don't love themselves. They don't discern their steps. They act impulsively. And then you have to adjust to the decisions made. But guess what? You're going to make mistakes. But your life does not stop because you did. But it is your responsibility to hold accountability where accountability falls. Some of you are in positions right now which you wish you could turn back the hands of time. Because through time's lessons, the insight and the wisdoms has finally hit you in a place that has got you so shook, you got no one to blame but yourself. But guess what, sweetheart? Guess what, my king? Learn that lesson so you ain't got to learn it no more. That's how we spiritually evolve. That's how we spiritually grow. When you was born, you was not given a pass. You was not given a label as victim. Everything that is going on in your life is a byproduct of choices made prior to the effect. That's why it's written in the Bible. Pride cometh before the fall. How much falling you gotta do? How much? But guess what? When you hit bottom, you can always stand up. You can always embrace who you are. I'm going to be your cheerleader as long as God puts air in my lungs. But I'm going to keep telling you this. The person that you once were is not who you were, nor were you. The person who you are today is dependent on the decisions that are made. But guess what? The person that you're going to become is going to look back and say, you know what? I have control. I have power to make sound decisions for myself. Aren't you worth it? Aren't you worth it? Listen. Stop turning to your friends for sound advice if they're not living correctly. Because you do understand. You know how they say birds of a feather flock together? Well, they can't fly together if they're not like-minded. Therefore, they must be in sync. Therefore, that's where that chemistry comes in, because they must be compatible to go in the same direction, even if it means it is a brick wall. See, what I'm trying to get you to understand is this. You've got a whole lot of life to live. And actually, this is a blessing right now. Because where you are right now can be the moment you stand up and say, well, you know what? This is not what I need. This is what I need. And you start to take that walk around your life and you start to survey what shows growth, what you can look at, just to have the courage to look at it and come up with a plan of attack. And one by one, one step, you will make progression. What is happening is you're solidifying your foundation. You're becoming grounded. You're seeking your empowerment. And guess what? You're loving yourself. But that devil, You know that devil? Yeah, that devil. Hold on, it's getting a little dark in here. Let me open these windows. Hope that's a little better. Yeah, it is. That devil, he has the same power as God. However, all he wants to do is kill you. That's all he wants. He wants your soul at all costs. So you know what he does? He feeds off your fears. He feeds on your temptation. Some of you may be in a position where you're saying, Gerald, I don't have the courage, but deep down inside, I got a hole in my heart that's so big, and I just want somebody to love me. And because there's a void there, that's why I sleep with whoever. Just for that moment, it makes me feel that I'm loved. But I'm going to tell you something. That's a trick. That's a trick. Because what the devil is doing is saying, you know what? I know your thoughts before you know them. I know what you're going to do when you think you got footing. But I'm going to take you somewhere so deep and dark. And until I'm done with you, that's where you're going to be. And what happens is we attract the people that think the same way, act the same way as we do. And sometimes it can be so stark. It can be such a stark revelation. But guess what? Because you're God. I know him as my Lord Jesus Christ. But I know I'm humbled enough to know he's one of many names. But what will happen is your higher power, because he loves you, because you're his child, he will bring people in your life specifically at the right time and moment. And if you take a second to humble yourself, you can look back and see pivotal moments in your life where there were people that came in your life, some habitually at the right time and right moment, and they conveyed something to you. It may have been a warning, it may have been a motivate you to go a certain direction. The reason for that is because, see, my queens, I will tell you this, and I will continue to tell you this. The man that you're going to walk with in the rest of your days, he has to be a spiritual man, because your psyche, yes, your psyche, your mental state is relying on that. You are given the gift of nurturement. That's why you inherit the title of mother, daughter, friend. And lastly, when the divine time and moment comes, matriarch of your family. So you've got a lot riding on your steps and decisions. You're going to have to make a lot of unpopular decisions for the betterment of all. But see, that devil don't want you to do that. That devil wants you to allow your insecurities, allow your fears to take you down a road that's going to take a whole long time to get back. It's kind of like being on the highway and you know the exit that you're supposed to be on, but because you are distracted, playing with your cell phone or multitasking, because I've seen y'all on the road. I've seen y'all. Y'all put your makeup on, be on the cell phone, drinking coffee, and still driving. Don't even realize how priceless your life is, but you do it all the time. The point I'm trying to make is this. What happened is, not paying attention, you overshoot your exit. And what happens, that will cause a delay to your direction, and you have to backtrack everything you've done. Well, guess what? What you don't realize what's happening is your life is being placed in review. It just depends on the impact of the choice that was made to make the change or the motivation. Now let me tell you something. My kings, my queens, I've been saying this and I'm going to keep saying this. Stop watching what you see on TV as a means of inspiration. Stop. Everything that you see and hear is nothing but an illusion. It is to sway your judgment and your perception how you lead your life. Did you hear what I said? That's why your life is very, very precious. That is why advertisers make the money they make, because they're banking they can sway your judgment. If you don't believe me, how many times you've been out and about, just out and about doing whatever you do, and you walk and you come across somebody you don't know, and you just look at them, you can tell, you can see their influence. Oh, you look like so and so. So, I mean, it's like a science of idolizing. I'm like, damn. But little do we know, you're a masterpiece in your own right. That's why there's only one you. But if you don't personify who you are through humility, through compassion, through kindness, through love, you're cheating yourself each and every time. That's why some of you right now are having to restructure and redefine what it means to have a friend. We've all been there. We've all been there. But you set that template. You set it. You set the bar of what is to be accepted and expected. So if it doesn't come from a place, as I just said, those things, kindness, compassion, clarity, and growth, you got to really look at why they're there. Because they're holding you back. Now you got to understand something. You might not want to accept it, but in time you will. You've got people around you that unconditionally love you. And right now you don't like them. You don't. You hating on them every chance you get. But what you fail to realize is there's a great injustice, because what's happening is these same people that you're choosing to place judgment on, which you as a human being are not supposed to judge anyone because you're ready to be judged yourself. That's why it's very important why I say be careful what comes out of your mouth. Be careful, because you put this out into the universe, it's going to come back like an echo. Like and being in front of a reflection pool and you drop a penny. The impact expands so you can't see it, but eventually it all comes back to source. You're the source. So make sure that what you put out, it comes back. But don't set your watch to it. It'll come back in all due time. Because if you live your life like that, that is nothing but what an opportunist does. Therefore, it is not sincere, because you're looking for something that's not given purely. That's why I keep trying to explain to you. Anything that is not done with pure intent has an expiration. Think about all those times that you did things you knew you shouldn't have done. You knew you shouldn't have done. Because you thought it was slick. But then when you weigh the price that was paid, and then realize that it didn't last, who got left holding the bag? Your heart. Let me tell you something. Society there's a spiritual war going on, y'all, that every day they're using whatever they can to desensitize you. Haven't you noticed every year there's somebody, they find someone to up the bar of what's acceptable and what is condonable? Think about it. Think about it. Why? Because the whole thing is to get you to a place of nothing surprises me. Well, it should. Because that's your ethics that they're playing with. That's your morality that they're playing with. They've already said you're expendable. All they want is the money, the source. Well, your source is priceless. And that is why I'm going to keep conveying this. My queens, my kings, stop looking for love. Stop doing that. You never will find what you seek until you seek it in yourself first. For example, I know I done pissed off. I know I pissed off some of the guys because I know somebody right now said, "Well, Gerald, I hear what you're saying, but really, right now in my life, I just want a female that got a fine face and a fat ass, and I can do what I want to her." And guess what? The devil will say, "Thank you, order coming up." And guess what? She'll walk into your life to wreck it. Look back. Look back in your life. Look back at all those ones that were like, man, on the outside, she felt like she fell from heaven. But dealing with her, she came from hell. Why? Because you're not yoked. That was nothing but a soul tie. The person that is going to be in your life is supposed to help you grow. They're going to tell you what you need, not what you want. Especially from a male's perspective. A spiritual man, my queens. Which is really a contradictory too. Because from your mouth, you say, well, he's got to be caring, compassionate. He's got to be responsible and stable. He's got to be my provider and protector. But what do you do? What do? You attract a man that is the opposite. And he runs you ragged. Yes, behind closed doors, he's making it 4th of July. But what you fail to realize is every time he disrespects you. That's why he treats you the way he does. That's why he don't want to grow. He just laying up on you. But because you're so enthralled into that, all that sex, because your toes are being curled, and you're experiencing things that you read about or you heard about, but in the darkness you are suffering. When you're by yourself, you're tormented. But yet, from your mouth, everything that describes a good man is not what matches here. And that's why you got to understand, whatever's here is going to be your reality. So, you ready to talk about synchronicity, right? Thank you, my angels. You do understand that there is such thing as angels as well as demons. They exist. But you do have what we call spirit guides. These may be people that you had a profound connection that defined unconditional love. In their eyes, you could do no wrong. When they looked at you, they saw endless possibilities, but their time has come and gone, and they're on the other side looking down on you. That is why when you do things that you should not do, you feel that inkling in your conscience. You feel like your discernment is saying, "Don't do that. Don't go in that room. You know that ain't right." Because that's them trying to protect you from yourself. So it's up to you to ground your feet. It's up to you to declare your name and step into your life one step at a time. Don't you think you're worth it? Stop giving your self-worth away to people that don't deserve to hear you breathe. That's why misery loves company. But I know somebody's saying, "Well, Gerald, I want what I want." Well, make sure what you need has endless potential to grow. And if you've done the work and continue to invest in yourself, guess what? Your higher power, known as my Lord Jesus Christ, is going to say, you understand now. And a door will be open. And you step into that door like the champion you are. Because see, what's going on is you are spiritually fighting yourself. There's a war going on within your heart. So that's why some of you are having difficulties now. Because you are going away from the direction that your life is intended to be. And I'm looking at this and I'm talk too much. But guess what? When it comes to you, you're worth it. You're worth it. You're worth it. And with that being said, I'm going to throw this out there as much as I have to. If you're going through something right now, you feel free to inbox me right down here. I'm also on Google+. Just look up Gerald Davis, you'll see me. And if anything, I will give you unbiased advice. Because there's nothing to gain for me. It's not. But I also know this. Sooner or later, you got to get serious with your life. You cannot take a position to think that somebody's going to swoop in and rescue you from your problems. You have to solve them one at a time. But it starts by having the courage to look at them. Because guess what? That's why relationships fail. Because somebody thinks they're slicker than the next person and say, "Well, you know what? Yeah, I'm in a rough spot, but you know, I use a little charm, or might let my mouthpiece do my work for me." And you turn around and walk down a path you're not supposed to, and guess what? The same problems that you had all along intensifies because you have not learned the lesson. So stop fooling yourself. Stop putting shade out there. Stop hating on people. Have the courage to love you. Love you. And I'm going to tell you what. If you got something going on right here, because here's another thing that society has convinced you, my kings, my brothers. Society wants us to be big and strong, be the protector, the provider, the rock. Well, you can't be none of them until you embrace your emotions. Because you're going to need those to navigate your life and make sound decisions, not only for yourself, but for your legacy. Now, how much is that worth? It's just your legacy. So that means the actions that your feet are making, until you decide to ground them, you're not going to have the things you dream about. And every time you take a shortcut trying to achieve them, guess what? It'll have a short stay. It shouldn't be at the price of your heart, man. You need to grow up. Man up. And when I say man up, I'm not talking about walking around with your chin up and acting like Billy Badass. I'm talking about look within your heart. Get that right. Define your name. Define your worth. You can't find that by jumping from this one to that one to this one. And let me tell you something with that, my kings and queens. You do understand this. If you don't, every time that you make a conscious decision to sleep with someone, first of all, especially if they haven't done what it took to invest to truly know you, because anybody can know a body. It's just like jumping in a bed. You can lay in it, doesn't mean you got to claim it. But every time you decide to be intimate with someone physically, part of your spiritual essence goes into them, and part of theirs go into you. But what you fail to realize is you attract whatever their problems is. If you don't believe me, look at your track record. I bet you 9 times out of 10 you probably had situations where you were like, you know what, if I'd only known, if I'd only knew about these situations beforehand, I would have kept it moving. Well, what in actuality what you should have did was kept it in your pants. Because it look good don't mean it is good. That's why fool's gold exists. I'm saying this to you because I love you. From one spiritual man to another. From one spiritual man to you, my queens. You gotta understand, your influence matters. You're gonna inspire someone. There's gonna be someone that's gonna look at you for inspiration. Maybe a little boy, a little girl. And in their eyes, you can do no wrong. Just make sure that what you put out is what you want to be remembered by. Make sure your steps are humble. You wasn't brought on this planet to be anybody's doormat. That's why it's always said this, and I'm going to wrap this up. Trust is easily given, but it is hard to protect. Did you hear what I'm saying? Anyone can get trust, but it's your actions that will define if it is protected. You gotta love yourself, y'all. There's so much. Society is nothing but a big minstrel stray. It is. See, you gotta be careful, y'all. They use whatever they can to inspire our perceptions, and just like this classic song. But you know what? Before this song dropped back in '93, women weren't checking for no roughnecks. They weren't. They weren't. But guess what? Because women you hold the earth in your hand, in your womb. So guess what? Men turned around and adapted through that perception of what you wanted, not what you needed. So a lot of women got what they wanted and had to pay for it. Your life is priceless. Only you can protect it. And it starts when you love yourself. But you gotta be real, y'all. You gotta be real with yourself. It don't matter who in your life, who's outside your door. You gotta protect that. That's why I will always say, keep your spiritual boundaries up. You can leave that door open if you want to, because it's your discernment that's going to carry you through it. And the people that love you, guess what? They should be growing. They should be always looking for inspiration to evolve. And guess what? Time is the greatest truth serum, because you will see those people that always had your true intentions and your best interest. And you do understand something, women, because I done been over the time I wanted. A spiritual man can see your potential before you can even think it. But guess what? Don't sleep on the devil, because guess what? You also got those that also see that, and they'll do everything in their power to snuff it out, because they decided they don't want to grow. Don't pay that price. Define your name. Love yourself. And always put your higher power first in everything you do. As I always say, God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Okay, y'all. You have a blessed and protected week. Sidestep that negativity. Stay prayed up. And stay grounded. Stay blessed. But more importantly, stay you. I see you. Love to hear from you, y'all. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.